Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So happy Sunday. We're about to start a new week. Last week of June. It's quite amazing to think that more than half of this year is already over. But Bitcoin gets ready for a big week, and I'm going to explain why. There are some major things happening this week. Also, is FTX making a move on BlockFi? This recent $250 million loan has some caveats to it. So let's talk about that. And one other party is not fond of it. And I do have some good altcoin news as well, an update on Harmony, Avalanche, Cardano, and many others. So let's get started. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media, check out CryptosRUs.com, and make sure you follow brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. Welcome, 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 guys. Happy Sunday. Things are looking still pretty darn good overall. You see Bitcoin slow and steady upwards movement, right? Still holding at 21,400. Not too bad. It was a little bit higher, almost 22,000. But right now, slow and steady, but not just for Bitcoin though, because I've noticed that Bitcoin dominance is actually coming down. Now we're down at 42.4%, and that's because a lot of people are stacking not just sats, but many others like ETH and BNB and even Doge. Look at Doge moves back into the top 10 with 13% gain. Cardano up almost 6% today. Shiba is making a comeback too. So there are a lot of people that are starting to stack their favorite altcoins. So pretty encouraging, right? But what about this week? This week, big week for several reasons. So I know last week, the U.S. markets actually rallied pretty good. On Friday, pretty good rally. Thursday, pretty good rally. Basically, Wall Street basically got used to the fact that rate hikes and inflation is high and will get higher. But this week, if you look at U.S. economic data, Thursday, we get more inflation numbers, this time measuring core inflation, not CPI. So core inflation discounts a few things. But overall, let's see what happens if it's going to go down. Anticipated that it will go down, but who knows? This month, we had a CPI number that unexpectedly went up. Well, I don't know if it's unexpectedly. It was expected by many people, but some analysts thought it was going to go down, but then it went up, and it was bad, right? So is core inflation going to follow CPI number? Most likely, but who knows? We may get a surprise, but there's also many other economic data that's coming out, including pending home sales, which is coming out tomorrow. So our homes slowing down, home sales slowing down, right? And many others. So I think this core inflation, this is going to be a big day. It's going to determine markets for Thursday and Friday, right? So we have that to look forward to. But right now, Bitcoin is definitely building, right? Alts are building. So let's see how it starts tomorrow. Now, other things that's going on, not so related. Well, yes, it's not macro. It's more geopolitical. I don't know what the implications of this is. You know, I have not been covering what's going on with the war with Ukraine and Russia, but I did see this. This looks pretty. I don't know. This sanction is pretty bad, I guess. The G7 nations are going to announce that they're going to basically ban Russian gold, all right? And Russia is the second largest gold producer on the planet. So according to President Biden, this is going to hurt Moscow by the billions. But what's funny is, and it's not funny at all, but what's strange is that the Russian ruble has climbed and has been climbing, and it is at the strongest level since May of 2015. So whatever Putin is doing, it's working because their ruble, which first of all collapsed, after a couple weeks of war, now has climbed to such a strong level. Even their own central bank is trying to weaken it because if it gets stronger, it's going to make their exports less competitive. But right now, every G7, G20 nation is trying to ban their imports. So I don't know where this is going to go. But, I mean, I just thought I'd mention that. It's not good still. But I don't know what this is going to do for gold. Maybe Peter Schiff will say that this is going to be a good move for gold because it's going to bring more scarcity. Now, you don't have much gold floating around out there. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do for gold, but thought I'd mention that. And also, I thought this was funny and worth mentioning that ExxonMobil CEO cautions against abrupt energy transition, warning underinvestment leads to high gas prices. Basically, what he's saying is this. I don't like how the world is moving to EV, so you guys are to blame for the high gas prices. I think that's what he's saying. I'm trying to interpret that. Of course, he has to say that because he is the CEO of ExxonMobil, right? So, yeah, there we go. All right, so those are things I want to start out with: geopolitical, macroeconomic stuff, and yeah, we got a big week to look forward to. We definitely have a big week to look forward to. But what about Bitcoin itself, right? Well, I'm glad to see this headline. Small-time investors achieve one Bitcoin dream as Bitcoin holds around the 21,000 range. There were so many back in 2017, right, that was trying to build up to one Bitcoin in their portfolio, right? And in 2017, it was much easier. 2017 started at 1,000 for Bitcoin, right? 1,000. And during the year, it went up and down, and eventually ended the year around 19,800, something like that, right? But during 2017, it was very easy to get up to one Bitcoin. But as Bitcoin got up to 20,000, it became harder and harder and harder and harder. And obviously, things got much harder once Bitcoin broke above 20K and headed to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70K, right? At 70K, at 60, 70K, think about it. Basically, no one out there, other than really wealthy people, can just plop down 70,000 for one Bitcoin, right? But what this is saying is people that have been sticking with small buys or DCAing or buying the dips, right? Now they have finally achieved one Bitcoin, which I think is very, very significant. Going forward, as Bitcoin gets bigger and more adopted, there isn't even enough Bitcoin to go around for all the millionaires in the world, let alone billionaires, right? And there are many billionaires that are stacking sats right now as we speak. So it's very, very, it's a big occasion for people to hit that one Bitcoin, right? So I'm really glad to see that. A lot of you guys have mentioned you've been DCAing and stacking sats. And that is the reason why the number of addresses holding at least one Bitcoin is at all-time high, close to 900,000. 900,000, which is a big figure, but you got to realize there are many people in the space that hold way more than one address. Like myself, I have like 10 addresses at least. I probably have more than 10 addresses. But there's a lot of people in the space that have way more than one, right? So if you look at that, let's just round up to an even million. You look at a million address, which is at all-time high, is great, right? But maybe out of the million, only 100,000 or maybe 200,000 are actual people, right? Or individual people, and everything else is just it's just from the same people. So if you look at it that way, how many people on Earth really hold one Bitcoin? It's so tiny, right? Maybe 200,000. Even if you're being conservative and say half, okay? Most people here, let's say 2. Well, that would mean only 500,000 people hold one Bitcoin. So if you get to that one Bitcoin, it's a very big deal. So hopefully most of you guys watching have either achieved this or you're trying to achieve this, because it's much easier now at 21,000 than it is at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, 70, right? This is the whole point of DCAing along the way so that you can accumulate and buy and get a little more when things are cheaper and get a little bit less when things are more expensive, right? But anyways, I like seeing that headline, so that's pretty good. What else? Of course, balance on exchanges, what I used in my thumbnail, is just tanking, and it tanked even more recently. So now we're at 2018 levels, all right? Bitcoin reserves on exchanges shot up in 2017 because that's when all the major exchanges came up, including like Binance, KuCoin, all these other like major ones that came out. They all kind of started in 2017, 2018. That's why the balance on exchanges shot up because of it. But now, starting to come down and down and down and down and down, right? It's getting more and more scarce as more and more people are stacking sats, and that's simply fantastic. If you look at some of the metrics or technical indicators, RSI, weekly RSI, I've showed this, is an all-time low. There's so many others that's very similar to this. And, of course, this is the bigger macro picture. People are looking at, like the 200 weekly moving average. This one is similar. This is the 2-day RSI, and also basically you look at, okay, when did Bitcoin find bottom, and when did it start flipping around, right? Generally speaking, within this range. Not generally speaking. Yes, throughout Bitcoin's history, it's always been in this range. It happened in 2020. It happened before in 2018. It happened in 2016, 2015, and it's happening right now, right? So this is why you want to continue forward. You want to be in the game, right? Stay focused, because Bitcoin, no matter how bad it looks throughout its history, there's been many periods where it looked really, really bad. It always comes back up because the number of holders keep increasing, because more and more people are adopting and understanding what Bitcoin is all about, not just about price appreciation, which of course is important, but also about personal freedom and taking control of your own funds and taking power away from the centralized banks and governments out there, right? And corporations too. So that is why. All right. So that's Bitcoin. Now let's get to some altcoin news, or just crypto news in general. So let's start out with FTX. So FTX, we know, gave several companies big loans recently. They gave Voyager a huge $500 million loan. But they also gave BlockFi a huge $250 million loan too. So people don't know, what this means. Is BlockFi in a really bad position, just like Celsius and Voyager, or is this just, a loan that BlockFi took out just to be sure? Well, now there's more details coming out. Now, yesterday, it was rumored that FTX may be planning on purchasing a stake in BlockFi, but that is not all. Morgan Creek, which is also like a VC firm within the eco space, right? Kind of like Three Arrows Capital, but not nearly as big. But they are definitely around, right? They're one of the early investors in BlockFi. They don't like this. They don't like this at all, because it turns out this $250 million loan, if BlockFi takes it, basically would sell BlockFi 100% equity to FTX. So basically, if BlockFi took the loan, they would essentially be selling themselves to FTX. And all major early investors like Morgan Creek would be out of luck, and they would not be able to collect anything, right? And that's not what they want. So Morgan Creek is now desperately trying to counter that loan by getting investors involved and trying to get another $250 million. But according to this article, the only reason why FTX took or is working on this loan is not because they need it, because they just want to make sure they're protected against all elements. And plus, what FTX is doing that's very different from everyone else is if BlockFi does need to repay its assets to lenders, right? If they needed to repay, they would actually repay the people first before the lenders, which is very different than in every other case where the lenders get paid first, then the people, and usually by then there's no money left, right? So FTX is actually saying it's okay to do that. So that's the reason why. And also the CEO of BlockFi, he posted this on his Twitter, and I highly recommend you guys to look it over, or listen over, because it's an interview, and basically he talks about does BlockFi have any exposure to like Three Arrows Capital? And he said yes before, but they over collateralized. So even though they liquidated them, it does not affect them at all. And there's several other things in here that relate to how they're different in terms of risk management, which sounds pretty legit, right? But obviously there's still a lot of fears over this. People are wondering if FTX is basically, going to take over BlockFi because BlockFi may be insolvent. It's looking unlikely. It's looking like BlockFi is taking this loan because they just want to protect themselves. They didn't know how bad the market was going to get, but who knows? I'm sure there's going to be more stories coming out because there's just a lot of uncertainty right now. I mean, this whole thing, yesterday I covered about Celsius, and possibly Goldman is leading a group to buy Celsius assets, not Celsius itself, but the assets, right? No update on this. Supposedly there's one person that says this is BS, but he's also the person that's trying to help Celsius get out of this. I don't know if he can or not. I don't know if this person is legit or not. But anyways, yeah, there's just a lot of uncertainty right now. And the same thing with Voyager, right? They limited their withdrawals. There's still people that's complaining that withdrawals are taking forever. So right now, bottom line is you just got to be careful. You got to be careful with your own funds. You got to be careful with your own crypto. I've been saying that, basically if you don't know how to secure your own crypto, you don't know how to use a mobile wallet or a browser wallet or a hardware wallet, make sure you learn, right? So that you can keep your own crypto and safeguard your own crypto. Because right now there's just a lot of uncertainty, right? But as for FTX and BlockFi, story develops, but we will see. We will see. All right, now, outside of that, there are other good news and bad news. I guess it's mostly good news, I think. An update on Harmony. Harmony, recently, unfortunately, they suffered a $100 million hack. So they are offering a $1 million bounty to the hacker to return the $100 million, and they get to keep $1 million, no questions asked. Whether or not the hacker will do so, many people think, it makes no sense. That why would they do this? Well, keep in mind, when you steal that much money, there's a lot of eyes on where the money is going, and it's going to be really, 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 really hard to cash out, right? So this way, they basically get $1 million for free, no catch. Okay, but whether or not they're going to do so, I don't know, right? But Harmony, it turns out this wasn't like a smart contracts vulnerability. It was a matter of the multi-sig private key, and somehow it was breached or hacked. So that is how they got access to the bridge, to the wallets, and so forth. So right now, they are still working at solving this issue. Unfortunately, though, because of this, there's many projects like DeFi Kingdoms, that are a little bit worried. So in their recent blog post or message, they're talking about, having people secure their assets on their DeFi Kingdoms chain, which is on Avalanche. And also, they're going to discuss whether or not they're going to continue on Harmony or look for another chain. So unfortunately, there's a lot of projects that's kind of very, very worried about the situation, right? So let's see. I hope Harmony could get through this. I hope that they somehow recover the funds. Maybe the $1 million entices the hacker to return $100 million. But right, it could not have come at a worse time, right? So this is actually the worst time to be happening. All right, so there's that. There's other things. Avalanche launched native Bitcoin support now, so this is helping them. Obviously, Avalanche is bridged with many other projects, but very little projects are actually bridged with Bitcoin. That's why if you look at DeFi projects, and look at DEXs, very few of them actually have native Bitcoin. It's all wrapped Bitcoin. Because wrapped Bitcoin is the ERC20 standard. It's on top of Ethereum. But now, after this bridge, you can natively swap between Bitcoin and Avalanche and all the Avalanche assets. So I think that's pretty big for Avalanche. As for Cardano, their recent fork, what was it called? Vasil or Vasil? Yeah, I think it's Vasil fork is delayed a month, but after that, their own algorithmic stablecoin from Cody, DJED, will be coming out. So this could also help Cardano in a big way because it adds some liquidity, or will add liquidity to Cardano, and also make it more interoperable because DJED can be used in other chains as well. So that is also coming for Cardano. And the Vasil itself also adds more scalability and makes it easier to program on Cardano, which in itself can get more dApp makers as well. So big things are coming for Cardano. And lastly, Sandbox has gained almost 20%, even though they're still down vastly from their all-time high, but they did gain 20% recently. And I missed this. It's because they're part of this group. Facebook, which is now Meta, is still weird to call them Meta, but Meta, Microsoft, and many others, 34 other tech companies, including Sandbox, are getting together because they want to open metaverse. They're going to try to come out with some kind of standard that they can all use, and they're all working on this one big metaverse play, supposedly, right? Led by Meta. I don't know if it's going to work, but Sandbox is part of it and definitely benefiting, and they confirmed that no, they will never allow Meta to buy them out. At least that's what they say. I don't know if that's true, but if Meta offered enough money, they probably will sell. But that's part of the reason why they're going up. So it looks like metaverses, I should say, are not going away. They will definitely continue forward. There's still a lot of brands that's building or trying to build NFTs and trying to build within the metaverse. It's just right now probably not the best time for it, but they're still doing it. They're preparing for the future. All right, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. Big update today. All right, let's do some Q&A. Eric, stop trying to spread nonsense, all right? I never said I didn't like Stellar because it was centralized or not centralized. I don't like Stellar because they don't have a future. There's no plans. They're not building dApps, right? All of the things that they worked on before have gone away. WorldWire with IBM gone away. Right? What happened to the stablecoins that they're working on with other countries? Kind of gone away, right? Are they building DeFi? I don't know. Supposedly, right? So it's not a matter of me not liking them. I just don't know what they're doing. But obviously, you're trying to paint a different way, and that's why I'm going to put you in timeout for just being an idiot. All right, now let's see. Let me go to the top here. Let me see if I missed anything. Nuclear. Someone said nuclear BTC mining. I can't imagine how many Bitcoin miners could be powered off of one nuclear power plant. Basically, every miner out there and much more, I'm assuming. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Ledgers give you more address. Almost every single wallet out there allows you to create more than one address. So that's why out of this, it's close to 900,000. But honestly, that number in terms of the holders is a lot less than 900,000. So that's why, yes, if you do get to one Bitcoin, I think it's it's major. Not many people around the world can say that. Let's see here. Let's see. Beware of the Sunday pump. Today is not really a pump. In fact, if you look at today, it's actually slightly down versus yesterday. But this weekend has been pretty good. Starting from Friday, pretty good. Saturday, pretty good. Today, right now, it's holding, right? Not really pumps. We're not seeing like crazy 20%, 30% pumps. We're just seeing very, very, very little increments because people are overall still very scared of what's to come, right? And that's honestly, that's probably the smart move right now, right? Slow and steady DCAing or buys, right? I think that is not a bad move, right? Because there's still a lot of uncertainty with rates, with inflation, with Europe, right? With a whole lot of things. And I didn't even cover Japan. Supposedly Japan's currency, the yen, is in really bad shape. Bank of Japan refuses to do any interest rate hikes. And not only that, they keep buying bonds at 0% interest. So basically, the Japanese yen is inflating to hell right now. So how that affects the world economy and the DXY, I don't know. It is definitely affecting it. So, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff going on around the world. I'm stacking until the next halving event and will sell my amount invested at previous high and ride the rest. What do you think about that? I can't disagree with that. That sounds like a good plan. ApeCoin is up 19%, probably because Snoop Dogg and Eminem both jumped into Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's probably the reason. I don't know why. Well, I probably know why. They probably paid a shitload. But they both jumped in, so it kind of makes sense. A lot of global inflation, yeah. There's definitely a lot of global inflation. Thoughts on FTM having an algorithmic stablecoin? I mentioned about that. That FUSD, it seems like it's never pegged at $1. It's been fluctuating and mostly under $1 for quite some time, but supposedly it's like a work in progress. It's not really a widely used stablecoin. I've never used it, but yeah, it's been like that for quite some time. The overall market cap on it is very small. I'm more concerned about some of the other bigger stablecoins like USDD from Tron and USN from Waves. They're really off peg and they're much bigger, so I don't know what's going to happen to them. Claudio, would be a good idea to buy GBDC stock. GBD stock is, it tracks Bitcoin. So if you're in the space already, Claudio, why don't you just buy Bitcoin? And if you're trying to say, well, because the premium is -30 or whatever, the premium has nothing to do with anything. It does not allow you to redeem any more Bitcoins because of it. The negative premium thing is nonsense, really, at this point. So I would much rather buy Bitcoin than GBD stock. James says, FTX stole 600 of my Bitcoin. I don't know how they just stole it. Maybe you should open a support ticket. I don't know the context of it. And most likely, they did not steal it. I don't know. But open up a support ticket. Chainlink news. No new Chainlink news. Not that I'm aware of. I didn't see anything recently. Which file sharing project do you think is leading the race? Filecoin, file sharing, or decentralized storage? Because BitTorrent is really into file sharing. Filecoin is more like a decentralized storage, although I guess you could use it for sharing. But yeah, they're leading in space, but I still like Arweave better. Arweave also does the same thing and more. There's a few of them out there. What else is there? We want to hear about Matic. Tell me what you want to hear about Matic. I covered them just yesterday, I believe. There's a lot of stuff going on in Matic. I can't pick any one specific huge thing, but I mean, as a layer 2, there's none bigger. And they still have a ton of NFT support. I think the last thing I covered was Coinbase. Coinbase Wallet was going to support native Matic, the Matic chain and Solana chain, so that's pretty big. But they have a ton of NFT marketplaces. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on in Matic. Not one big thing, but a lot of things. Mohammed, thank you. Algorand has a really bright future. I think so. It's just very early for them. They still have a big presence in Latin America right now. Portfolio is 99.99% of BTC. Well, you might as well just say 100%. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to stick with 100% BTC, that's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But me personally, I have done that before, and I've seen my portfolio not do as well as it could have had I had more alts, which is why I went and did the 50-25-25, right? That portfolio allocation, I think, benefits in almost every case. Having 50% in Bitcoin, 25% in big caps, 25% in mid, small, micro caps. I think overall that works out a little bit better. But if you're going 100% Bitcoin, that's okay too, as long as you're in something. And Bitcoin, of course, is the leader and will continue to lead the market no matter what. But the landscape has changed for alts. People that argue alts are still all shitcoins, it's no longer the case versus 2017 alts and 2013 alts, okay? Things have definitely changed vastly. Michael, in your opinion, are we safer to buy altcoins of BTC as opposed to questionable stablecoins of USDT? Just stay. If you're worried about USDT, just stay off of it. Use USDC instead. USDC is a lot more safe than USDT. What's your view on Hathor? I don't really have a view on Hathor. Never did enough research into him. Let's see. 100% in BTC too slow for me. Yeah, especially during crazy altcoin runs. Next BTC. I'm not even gonna repeat that. If coin basically out of business, what happens to USDC? I don't know what you're. Are you saying if Coinbase goes out of business? USDC is a collaborative effort between Circle and Coinbase, but mostly Circle, right? Yeah, I don't know what would happen in that case. If both went bankrupt, I don't know what would happen. Why do I play gold ads? I don't get to choose which ads. If you're shown a gold ad, most likely because you clicked on a gold video at some point in time. I don't control what ads gets played on this channel, but YouTube will probably detect your previous views and activity. So maybe you're a secret gold bug. That's the reason why. Hello from UK. Why are your videos not posting on Twitter? I stopped posting anything on Twitter because I think Twitter is a toxic waste dump at this point. I use it to get some good articles and charts, but that's it. Twitter is basically worthless in my opinion. So I am not posting on Twitter anymore. Better Niet. You're very popular in the Netherlands. I appreciate it. Hopefully. I do plan on traveling the world more going forward, and it would be very cool to meet fans in other countries. Like right now, I don't get out that much, but now that I'm getting out a little bit more, I'm starting to see more and more people, even locally here. The other day at Costco, there's a young fan. And then the day afterwards, I was appliance shopping, met another fan. I mean, starting to get recognized left and right. I need to wear a hat or something, make it harder. What do you think about Nimbus? I've never heard of Nimbus before, but that's a cool name though. Never heard of it. Yeah, it's a project with basically no volumes. 5,000 volume, 24 hours. I mean, this is pretty much it's a dead project. Electric F-150. I would like to test it one. I've seen it up close in person, but I've not driven one. And unfortunately, Ford dealerships are marking them up to $100K over MSRP. I mean, people are calling Ford out on it, but there's nothing Ford could do because they're at the mercy of dealerships. Dealerships and dealership associations seem to be ruining a lot of things right now. So this is how it works. Because I've been speaking to a lot of manufacturers. I spoke to Toyota about this, Honda about this, and Ford and everyone else is at the mercy of these dealership associations. So in the U.S., there's probably I don't know the exact number, but there's very little. There's probably a dozen of them out there. And how it works is the dealerships themselves buy from these dealership associations, and the manufacturers sell to dealership associations. So these associations control pricing. So if they want to mark a car up, they could. Dealerships, if they want to mark it up, they could also. Right? So the only thing the manufacturers can do is threaten their allocation and say, okay, if you continue to do this, we'll decrease your allocation. But there's only so many associations they could sell to, right? So if everyone's doing it, what can they do, right? And if dealerships are doing it, right now they're just turning a blind eye to it because right now they know that it's hard to get inventory. So, and dealerships are also struggling because there's not many cars to sell. So, I mean, this is why the Tesla model works, right? You can remove all this nonsense if you just allowed people to buy cars straight from a website like anything else, and then just pick the dealership you want to pick it up at, and that's it, right? Easy. No more games. You don't have to worry about anything, right? And that is why some manufacturers are starting to go in this route because it's just better. You don't have to worry about these political stuff, these games. Right? Allow people to order straight from the website, no markup, MSRP, pick it up or be delivered to your door and be done with it, right? Just it's a perfect model, but then, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of states have dealership laws and all this laws and it's all these ancient laws and it's just so inefficient. But anyways, just I want to tangent there, but yeah. What's your opinion on GameFi right now? Most coins are down 99%. Do you think it can recover? Yes, as long as the games stay relevant and the platforms stay relevant. A lot of the individual games, games get hot and then they get cold, right? And some never recover. But I like gaming platforms better because there's always new games coming out. For example, Gala is one of them. They're coming out with more and more games and enticing other game makers to come aboard. So it's not like a one-hit thing and then they're done, right? So that's what I like. Come to Ireland. I never thought about going to Ireland. I want to go to England, but maybe if I go to England, the UK, then I'll just go to Ireland. Do you give autographs? No, but but if you want to take a picture, I'm fine with that. Melbourne, Australia. Welcome, Will. I do want to visit Australia. I think that would be a cool place to visit. Cat, come to Ireland. You know, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind visiting Ireland. Buy AMC. No, thanks. You think Kyrie will be joining the Lakers? I think a lot of people want that to happen. I don't. Kyrie is a head case now, and having LeBron as a teammate is not going to help that. When he was younger, maybe he would have, he listened, but now, not now. Kyrie is a head case, so yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work out. Anyways. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, let's see what happens this week. It's going to be a big, big week. More inflation numbers will come out, right? And we will see how Wall Street digests it. But as for Bitcoin and as for crypto, Bitcoin is still strong, holding strong. A lot of great fundamentals and great metrics and models, right? That's showing this is the time to be buying. And there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of not only Bitcoin, but also alts as well. So very encouraging. But let's see what happens starting tomorrow. So tune in, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time when I have my market open stream. All right, guys, have a good one. Enjoy your Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.